Welcome to the In Love with PMDD podcast. I am your host, Dr. Rose, your PMDD Relationship psychotraumatologist, and I help you stop the monthly PMDD breakups. PMDD is premenstrual dysphoric disorder. It is in approximately 1 in 5 women, and it makes you want to break up with your partner approximately 1 to 2 weeks before your period every single month. So as someone who has suffered with PMDD for over 18 years, I dedicated my doctorate practice to helping partners navigate those monthly PMDD breakups with everything from attachment styles, triggers, sensitivity to noise, sensitivity to touch, all of the things that you really struggle with when you're in PMDD. And I also dedicated my dissertation to a phenomenological study of the relationship experiences of partners of individuals who suffer with premenstrual dysphoric disorder. So I'm not just here to help the sufferer, the one who is suffering with PMDD. I am here for the partners as well. So if you need those private sessions, make sure you go to inlovewithpmdd.com and get those tools. So let's get into this week's PMDD trauma transformational tools that is going to help you stop the monthly breakups and stop the suffering and stress in your PMDD relationship. Let's get into it. Today's episode of the In Love with PMDD podcast, continuing on with the communication series, is all about validating your PMDD partner's thoughts, feelings, emotions, everything that they're saying. So a lot of times when I talk to my private clients and even with me, the reason why you get into these big fights, these big arguments when you're in PMDD and you're feeling that rage, it's because you feel like you're not being heard. You feel like your partner is not validating your feelings, that you feel like your thoughts are not valid because they're constantly questioning you. They're telling you maybe, oh, you're just saying that because you're in PMDD, right? So we get the stigma that because we're in PMDD, then anything we say and do could be categorized as we don't know what we're talking about. Everything is not real. So if we're trying to bring up a valid point when we're in PMDD, but our partner is constantly dismissing us, then that's causing us to have PMDD rage. It's causing us to disrespect them because we feel disrespected, because we feel like we're not heard, because we feel like we are being treated like we're less than just because we're in PMDD, just because we have PMDD. And so many times that causes so much anger and frustration because what you want to tell your partner is, I know what I'm talking about. Just because I have PMDD doesn't mean that what I'm saying is not valid. It doesn't mean that what I'm saying is not true. But that's really, really hard because sometimes we do have intrusive thoughts and the things that we're thinking in our head are not true. So you start to second guess yourself. You're like, okay, well, I know that I'm really feeling like this in the moment, but do I really think this, right? But I want to talk to you today about the times where there are things going on in your relationship that you are trying to address when you're in PMDD, things that I always say, make sure you address what comes up. And so you're like, okay, I spend 2 hours, I spend 2 hours in my DMs on Instagram. So if you're not following me at In Love with PMDD, follow me on Instagram. I spend approximately 2 hours a day just talking to PMDD partners, talking to them about their relationships, giving them tools and giving them just advice on little things that they're going through. And a lot of times what I'm hearing is that PMDD partners are not they're not feeling heard. They feel like they're saying things to their partner, they're having to repeat them again and again and again, and their partner is continuously dismissing them, right? And when you feel dismissed, when you feel invalidated, then you feel disrespected, and then you start to think, well, I'm doing all these things for you. A lot of times it's like, how am I so incompetent that you can't understand or hear something that I'm saying, but I'm cooking your dinner. Like I'm taking the kids to wherever they need to go, to whatever practices. I'm taking them to school. I'm going to work every day. I'm doing all these things. I'm being a mom. I'm being a wife. I'm doing all these things. I'm being a good partner. But all of a sudden, you don't want to think that what I'm saying is true. Like, why is it that you trust that I'm going to make your dinner and I'm not going to burn it and I'm not going to poison you because I'm so incompetent? But when I try to tell you something about a thought about our relationship, then it's all of a sudden you don't know what you're talking about, right? Like you're choosing when you want to listen to me, when you want to validate my feelings. And it's hurtful because you want to be seen as someone that actually is able to communicate with their partner and their partner hears them. That is the most vital part of communicating. And it's knowing that your partner not only hears you, but they respect your opinion. And so when you're in those moments where you feel like you're not respected, you're not accepted for who you are, then you get on the defensive and you're no longer looking at your partner like you're a team. You're looking at them as like they're the enemy. And then all of a sudden, you feel differently towards them. And they're just like, okay, let's just move on with life. Like, let's just go on with dinner or go on with whatever. But you can't move on because you're continuously looking at them like you're this person that doesn't validate my feelings. You're this person that doesn't respect me. And it's hard to be intimate with someone when you feel like they're looking down on you. And a lot of times when we're in PMDD and we're having the brain fog and we're having all of these things that are making communication really, really hard for us, and we're trying really hard to say our points and to prove our points and to state the facts of what's going on, what we really need is for our partner to just accept what we're saying. Even if they don't agree with it in the moment and they know that it's a little to the left, like it's a little far-fetched, I need to know that you trust me enough, that you're actually listening to me, that you're not dismissing me because I'm in PMDD, that you're not just telling me, what I want to hear in the moment. Like, how many times have you been in those moments where you said something to your partner and they're like, oh, okay. But they're okay really means that they're not listening to you. They don't believe you. Like, it's very fake. It's not sincere. And you want to get to that point where you feel that connection of my partner sincerely values what I'm telling them. They appreciate my point of view. They know that I'm bringing something to this relationship. They know that I'm bringing something to this partnership with our children. They respect my opinion. They're not making big decisions without asking me just because I'm in PMDD. They're not tiptoeing around me and saying, well, like I would normally go to her about this, but because she's in PMDD, I can't trust anything that she says. Like, that's hurtful because PMDD is inevitably a part of who we are. That is not something that goes away. So a lot of times partners will say, don't take it personally. But it's like, how could I not take it personal that you're not validating my feelings when it's me? I am the person that are saying these things. And you're like, yeah, you're in PMDD. That doesn't even make sense. Even talking down to us because certain things don't make sense. So for all the partners out there who don't have PMDD, even if your partner is not making sense in the moment, it is so important that you validate what they're saying. Because if you really try, you will really understand what they mean, right? We're not going to be perfect, in everything that we do. We're not going to say it perfectly, but if you're really trying to understand what I'm saying, you're going to understand what I'm saying. But if you're just automatically dismissing it because you're looking at the time frame of when I'm saying it and you're like, oh, you're in PMDD, like, I can't, like, okay. Because when your partner feels disrespected, they're more likely to disrespect you. And a relationship without respect is turmoil. It's fights, it's arguments, it's people throwing things, it's people hitting each other, it's people going below the belt because they don't have enough respect for you to restrain themselves. That's part of containing the PMDD rage in this communication series is you need to be able to contain yourself. And part of that is not denying that you're going to have PMDD rage. I know it's going to be there. It's there for all of us. But when you respect your partner, there are certain things that you, even if you do them one time, so I'm not going to say that they're never going to happen, right? Because we've all done things that have been our highlights, like our worst things. And we're like, yeah, I went below the belt. But if you respect them, then you're going to be like, you know what? I went below the belt, but I'm not going to go there anymore. And the partners have to like trust that and accept that. And sometimes you have to hit rock bottom and do those ugly, shameful things in order for you to never go back to that place again. And it's very shocking that these things have to happen and they shake up the relationship. But number one, they tell you two things. Number one, they tell you how committed you are to your PMDD relationship. And number two, they tell you how committed you are to your PMDD partner. Because if you are committed, no matter what happens, shameful actions or not, blow-ups or not, guilt or not, you're willing to continue to work on it. And it's easy to say that you're willing to work on a relationship with someone with PMDD when they're in their good days. And they're like, oh, I understand that you have PMDD. Like, I'll be here for you. But how do you react? How do you respond when they're basically arguing with you, fighting with you, picking with you? They're going off on you. They're doing all these things. How are you responding in those moments? Are you getting up and leaving? Or are you staying and sticking it out? Because I appreciate my PMDD partner, and all my clients appreciate their PMDD partner so much because they've gone through the tough times. They've gone through the moments of when they could have walked away and they didn't. And that is solidified when I ask all of my private clients, is this your person? Because in order to be with someone who has PMDD, you have to have a person that is willing to be committed on your good days and your PMDD days. And it's not always easy, but it's worth it. Because when you're in those good days, if you have PMDD, you better make sure you're taking advantage of those good days and you're being authentically yourself and you're not going through all of the things that happen in your bad days. It's a process that I have to take my clients through and that I have to go through, where if I did damage in the last PMDD round, then it's a process of digging myself out of that. Give yourself grace, but actively be working towards getting yourself out of those bad moments in your PMDD recovery so that you can enjoy your good days, so that your partner can remember, this is the person that I fell in love with. We have to show our partners reminders. We have to show them reminders of who we truly are. If you go, and this is why I say that my 2-month private PMDD coaching, which the last slot by the time this episode comes out is taken. So I won't be opening up any more sessions for the 2 months, but what I will be opening up sessions for are what I was talking about in previous episodes, which are the 3-session packages, which is you either do 3 sessions together or you do 1 session with one partner, 1 session with the other partner, and then you do 1 together. So I can take on that in my schedule. When I tell you that my schedule is filled with PMDD partners, I'm so proud of you. I ended up opening up more than 10 spots. I opened up an extra one or extra couple because the need was there, because the applications were coming in. And I kind of shifted some things around where I was able to take more clients this round than I normally do. But when you come and do these 3 sessions with me, what it is that you're getting is understanding how to communicate to your partner when they're in PMDD rage, what you need to be doing if you're the one with PMDD when you're in PMDD rage, and healing some of the things that have happened that are causing that block. So have you ever had really, really harmful moments when you're in PMDD and it seems like every single month when PMDD comes, you're having those intrusive thoughts and you're thinking about those bad days? I know when I used to think about my bad days with my partner for months and months and months, it stopped me from connecting with them because I kept thinking about them in those moments when they said those horrible things, right? Like I couldn't see beyond what they said to me. And so it caused a block of intimacy. I couldn't even enjoy my good days because I was constantly looking at them like the enemy. And a lot of times when you get into PMDD, instead of your partner being your partner and being this loving person that's like on your side, if you've had really bad communication before, like with PMDD rage and arguments and fights, you're now looking at them like they're the enemy. And the best way to get ahead of that and to get beyond looking at your partner as the enemy, and it's worked for me, and it's worked for all of my PMDD clients, is to validate their feelings. Because here's the thing. Here's the secret sauce, as they say. Every PMDD partner, meaning the one that suffers with PMDD and the partner of the one that suffers with PMDD, wants to feel seen, validated, and heard. They want to know that you see them for who they truly are. You don't see them through the lens of PMDD. You don't see me as someone who has PMDD. You see the core of who I am. And for the PMDD partners, your partner wants to know that you see them for what they're trying to do. Even if they're getting it wrong, we're trying to help you while you're in PMDD. Even if they're getting it wrong, they want you to see their efforts. They want you to see that they're really trying. They want you to see their heart and really say, you know what? That's not exactly what I needed, but I know what they were trying to do, and I appreciate that. And I love them for that. And I'm not going to berate them and argue with them and fight with them because they didn't do everything perfectly according to how I thought that they were supposed to do it. Instead, I'm going to show them gratitude for what they did do and help them learn how to love me when I'm in PMDD. They need to know. And a lot of PMDD partners are open to learning if you say it to them in a loving way. Right? If you're yelling at them and you're saying, you got it wrong. I told you that I needed this. Why aren't you doing it this way? I don't understand. I told you last month this is what I need, and now it's the next month and you're still doing it wrong. You're basically calling them stupid. And I don't know about you, but if someone calls me stupid, good luck. Good luck getting anything else from me. Good luck me being loving and open and all of these things that you need, after you literally called me stupid for trying to love you, and I just didn't do it according to your standards. And that's sometimes out of frustration what we do, because we're like, I'm in PMDD, I just need you to do this for me. I just need you to do this. Well, look at how you're talking to your partner. Like, let's just take a moment and think about, how are you speaking to your partner? Are you giving your boss more respect than you are your partner? Would you talk to your boss like that? Would you disrespect your boss like that? No, because they're giving you a paycheck. Well, your partner's loving you, and your partner's there for you in your good days and your bad days. So why are you not giving them the respect and the restraint of saying, you know what? It's another month. They didn't get it right. I'm going to give them some grace, and I'm going to help them. And you're going to do it lovingly. And I'm going to give you an example of what that looks like. Let me see. What can I use for me? I would say mornings are my time where I need the most. Okay. So mornings for me are very crucial because they kind of shape my day. Like, how my morning is normally how my day is. And that's why I always keep talking about my morning routine. And if you follow me on Instagram, every morning I'm trying to do my morning routine, and it's easier on some days and it's harder. But this is an example of my partner getting it wrong and how I would respond to them before, and then how I respond to them now. When I responded to them before, it did not end well. Let's just say we had bad days, many, many bad days. So I would not say that I'm a morning person, but I get up early in the morning and I get a lot done. I have the discipline of doing things in the morning because, if you've listened to earlier podcasts, or if you're a new listener, I am in the military. I've been in the military for 19 years now. Oh my gosh. And so early mornings are my thing because it's what I'm conditioned. It's part of my job. Like, a lot of times when I train my soldiers, I'm a master fitness trainer. So a lot of times when I go out and I train my soldiers, we're getting up for formation at 05. If my soldiers are there at 05, I need to be up at 04. And I need to be up because I'm preparing whatever physical training that I'm doing for them. And then I'm showing up early to make sure they're there. And it's a lot that goes into my job. And so I've conditioned myself to get up in the morning and to be productive, whether I feel like it or not. So over the years, especially as PMDD has gotten worse, as I've gotten older, it's definitely gotten worse. So it makes my morning routine harder. So I was like, how could I work around getting up this early and getting things done? And so I go essentially on autopilot. And what that means is I'm not really asking myself how I feel. I'm not thinking about how I feel. when I'm getting up to do my duty, when I have soldiers. Like, I'm an officer, so I have a lot of soldiers under me where I don't have the luxury of, thinking about how I'm feeling in PMDD in the moment or how I'm feeling in regular days and acting accordingly. I still have to perform whether I'm in PMDD or not. So what my partner used to do is he likes to talk in the morning. He's a very talkative person in the morning. And I want to let you know, I'm a night owl and my partner is a morning person. So just because I wake up early in the morning doesn't mean I'm a morning person. And I had to recognize that because I used to think, man, I'm a morning person, but I'm not really, because I'm not wanting to socialize, be open, and like do all the things. Like, when I think of when people are trying to describe whether they're a night person or a morning person, it's like, when are you at your best? When you're feeling the most, open and you're free and blah, blah. And for me, that's evenings, because I've gotten everything done off my to-do list and I'm kind of just free to just do whatever I need to do and be creative. So when me and my partner started dating, we connected on the fact that we both woke up early in the morning. He's also in the military. So I'm in the Army, he's in the Marine Corps. So we both met one another and we both were waking up earlier in the morning. Like, I wake up 4 o'clock, and he wakes up, honestly, on his good days earlier than me, 3:30, which I met him and I was like, you wake up earlier than me? Like, that's normally nobody wakes up earlier than me. Like, I finally met my match. Like, and we connected in thinking that we were morning people. Like, oh, we're morning people. And I thought I was. But the thing about it is, another thing is, I have my daughter, and she, from early on when I was in the military, I would do a lot of things while she was still sleeping. So if I had to go train my soldiers, I actually had a nanny before that would be at the house and that would come and be with her while I had to leave, at 4:30 in the morning. And I would be back, because I work out, train them for an hour, come back like 6:30 by 7 o'clock. By the time she woke up, basically, I was back and ready to get her ready for school and get her ready. So she basically didn't even know that I was gone. But I've always had that kind of routine where I'm not having to talk to anyone in the mornings. I'm just having to act and do things. So when I got married to my partner and he likes to get up in the morning and talk, it was like this big shock. I was like, why are we speaking? Like, why? Like, I get it that we're both like morning people, but like, why is there so much talking going on? Like, it was a big thing for me because I'm not ready to talk, like, and interact and do things with other people until I finish with my morning routine and those endorphins have come through. And then I'm ready to like, okay, look, what are we doing today? And I'm like in a really good mood, but that takes me getting through my morning routine. And so he was wanting to get up in the morning and talk, and I didn't want to hear him. Like, I would literally have my headphones on. Like, that's part of my morning routine. So what I want you to know is, when your PMDD partner has different lifestyles than you, that does not mean that you're not supposed to be together, right? I know a lot of times with my private clients, and even I thought in the past, oh my goodness, there's this thing that they do that I can't stand that's so different from me. Maybe that means that we're not supposed to be together. Maybe that means that this is not my person because we're so different. But it's not that, because my partner has a lot of qualities that I need and that only he has, that are outside of the things that make us so different. And the compilation of that is accepting the things that are different and embracing the things that are alike and that are similar. But you're not always going to have everything alike with your partner. I want you to get that out of your mind. There's no one that you can pick that is going to have 100% of everything that you want, and you're not going to be completely alike, or else you would be dating yourself. You don't need to be with someone that does everything like you do things, right? That's not the goal of being with someone else. If you want to just do things your way all the time, be single. Like, just be single. Don't be with a partner if you're not expecting to get into it's like those roadblocks or those little humps in the neighborhood. And I always notice them when I'm rushing and I'm running late. And there's humps that force me to slow down in the neighborhood. And we have like, we live on posts. So we have like a lot of kids that are just running around biking and everything. And there are so many of those humps. And it literally forces me during the day to slow like I can't speed out of my neighborhood like I would love to do because I'm probably late for a meeting or I got to train soldiers or like something's going on. It forces me to slow down. And that is exactly what your PMDD partner does for you. But that slowing down process is for a reason. There's a reason that my partner has the different qualities that I don't have. And he brings things out of me that I didn't know that I needed and I didn't know that I wanted, but it took me to the point of having to accept them and then recognize how they can benefit me. So the first part of this is recognizing that your partner has different things going on. They have a different routine. They have a different lifestyle, and seeing how that can possibly benefit you and validating who they are. Because like I said, they want to be seen. So they want to know that I see you for who you are and I accept you. I see you for who you are and I accept you. I'm not trying to change you into me. I'm not trying to get you to, like, little by little have you adopt habits to where you're going to end up looking exactly like me. Like, I'm a late person, procrastinator, all the things that you could think like, oh, that's a negative thing. I don't think it's a negative thing because I get a lot of stuff done under pressure. I work well under pressure, whereas my partner is a very early person. He will, if there's a deadline, he's done it way before the deadline. He wants to be way early for everything. And honestly, I fought that in the beginning because I'm like, what's the big deal? We can be late. Like, it's fine. Like, no one's even watching. But he's made me so much better. And in being on time, he's not made me better to where I am like him, but he's made me better in the sense that I need him, right? So if I'm going to be on time for something, for an event, for something that's really important, blah, blah, I need him to be there to say, hey, babe, did you do this? Did you check this? Did you do this? Like, he's done this for me so many times when we were moving around and we're checking out of Airbnbs and he's already like done stuff like, oh, we need to make sure we do this. And did you check everything to make sure we don't forget anything? Like, he's my person to do those things that I instinctively wouldn't do. Or I would like lose things. And he's my structure. And instead of fighting the fact that he has structure, because he used to fight the fact that I was flailing all over the place and be like, how do you get anything done with everything? But what I recognize is we are both effective being who we are. So it's not a matter of me trying to get him to be late or him trying to make me be on time. It's a matter of recognizing I see you and I respect the fact that you want to be on time. He can say, I see you. I see you multitasking, doing 75 things at one time, and I respect the fact that you're able to get that done. It's all a matter of supporting your partner with doing what it is that they do best, even if it's not in the method or the way that you think that would be best for them. What works for you doesn't always work for your partner, but that doesn't mean that you're not supposed to be together. You're not supposed to be with someone that does everything the way that you do it. You're not. So after you see the person and see them for who they truly are, the next thing is they want you to hear them, really hear them. So many times when our partners are talking, so like in that scenario that I told you about in the morning where my partner would just be speaking to me, I thought I could just be doing other things and listen to him in the background and that would be enough. He wanted me to actually stop what I'm doing and listen to him. And for me, I was like, whoa, like, okay, because in the morning I'm normally on the go. So my compromise, and that has gone such a long way, is if I know that I want to do my morning routine, I don't want to be interrupted when I'm doing my morning routine, I put my focus on him first thing in the morning instead of going straight into me, right? being a PMDD partner, you have to be selfless. You have to stop thinking about yourself so much and how you want things and start thinking about your partner first. Because when you think about your partner first in the way that you're navigating things, they're going to let you do whatever it is that you want to do. So it's not about, oh, I'm giving everything to them and then I have nothing left for me. No, it's like they're going to let you do whatever you want to do as long as you're giving them something, not everything, right? So I'm not sitting there talking to him for hours first thing in the morning. But what I recognize is if I take 15 to 20 minutes when we wake up in the morning and I block it off, because I have to do that. Like I have to, even though I'm not a very structured person, when it comes to my morning routine, I'm more like a check the block. Like, what am I doing first? So my morning routine looks like this. I get up in the morning. I take my plant-based pre-workout, right, to get energy because I can't really drink coffee when I'm in PMDD. And then that takes about 15 to 20 minutes to kick in. So after I do that, I go to put on my workout clothes, right? Then I go to walk Leo. I'm probably talking to, if I do say something, I'm talking to on Instagram and I'm saying what my PMDD symptoms are for the day or whatever. Or if I'm not in PMDD, what my great, things are that's going on. So I talk to you first thing in the morning to connect. And while I'm walking the dog, and then I go straight into my workout. And then after my workout, I do a short meditation and then I shower and get dressed for the day. That's it. So my morning routine probably takes like an hour. It sounds like a whole bunch of things, but it literally only takes an hour. So when I go back to my partner feeling heard, what I do is I take 15 minutes when I first wake up before I go to do my workout, before I go to walk my dog, because I like to walk my dog by myself. That's my me time. That's being outside. Like I don't want to be into. So I could have been like, oh, come walk the dog with me, but that's taken away from my time. So I connect with my partner, whether we're on the bed, on the couch, and I do physical touch because that's really important to him. It's really important to me too, because it kind of calms me down a lot of mornings when I'm feeling really anxious. And we talk about the day. And one of the big things with my partner with feeling heard is he wants to know what we're doing for the day. He wants to plan, right? He's very structured. So times in the past where I haven't given him this 15 to 20 minutes, I've been running on the treadmill or doing a workout, and he comes into our at-home gym and it's like, what are we doing for the day? And I'm like, are you trying to talk to me right now? Like in the middle of a workout, because it takes me out of it. And I'm like, I can't talk to you about this right now. And then so he feels hurt because he feels like he's not heard. And my reaction to that, even if I've been like, I don't know, I just snap because I'm so irritated that I've been interrupted, that he's just heard. So if I try to go back and talk to him after I'm done my workout, after I'm done my meditation and shower, he doesn't want to talk, or he's kind of shut down or whatever because his feelings are hurt. So I found that giving him this 15 or 20 minutes, looking at our day, this is what we're going to do. What do you have going on for the day? Just how are you feeling? Being loving. And then it's been a situation where he's like, okay, I know you have to do your workout or whatever, but he feels good because he's been heard. And I don't know if you all know how important it is for you to hear your partner without telling them what they should think, combatively talking to them, challenging everything that they say, just letting them tell you what's going on their mind, and you're just being a sounding board. So even if you know that you have answers or things that are different from what they're saying, know that your purpose. It's like I always say when I go into a meeting, I have a staff. I'm a human resources director. I have a staff. And I always say at the beginning of our meetings, what is the purpose of this meeting? And then someone tells me the purpose, and then we move on to the meeting. So we're always going on with that purpose. And then I know how to structure the meeting. So when I am going into the conversation with my partner, I know that the purpose of this meeting is not for me to say my point of view. It's not for me to put my 2 cents in. This is not the time. Not saying I'm never going to say anything about everything that he's saying, but he needs to feel heard first thing in the morning. So I know in the back of my mind, the purpose of this meeting is that my partner is heard. Period, point blank. It's not about me. The purpose of this meeting is that my partner is heard. And when I go into it knowing that, then whatever he says, I'm just JBL method. Like I told you before, just be loving. Even if he says some stuff I don't agree with, just be loving, because that's what he needs in the moment. That's what he needs in the moment. And you know your partner. And if you study your partner, you know what it is, what they need and when they need it. So I know that my partner needs to be heard, and every PMDD partner needs to be heard. So if they're trying to tell you about something and they're going on and on, don't tell them that I already knew that. That's like the worst thing you could say. Or, oh, somebody else told me that. So that's telling them that you're acknowledging other people's thoughts and placing their opinions above his or hers. What you want to do is hear them and let them know that you are appreciating them. And the last one is, so we talked about being seen. We talked about being heard. The last thing is we're going to talk about being validated. So I know that this word gets thrown around a lot, and we haven't really, everybody might not know exactly what that means, to be validated. So validation refers to acknowledging your partner's feelings. That's distinct from saying you agree with them or condoning their behavior. You're not saying, I agree with everything that you're saying and I'm accepting of all your behavior. You can talk to your child about how they're feeling afraid about something without suggesting that, that's not the right thing to do or giving your opinion. Like you're able to just, when your child, if you have children or you've been around children where they just need to talk about what's going on with them, it's not about saying that, oh, you did that the wrong way. Like, oh, this is what you need to do. It's not about judging them and putting them in their place. So in order to validate your PMDD partner, you need to learn to validate yourself first. Recognizing that your true feelings is the first step to be able to manage any feelings and emotions that you're going through. So if you're trying to go to your partner and you want to be validated and you want your partner to take your emotions seriously, you have to take them seriously. There's been times I've had to do this where whether my partner agrees with me or not, I know that this is true for me. So many times we're trying to convince our partner that something is true because we don't really believe it ourselves, or we feel like we need to force our partner to believe what we're believing in order for us to believe it. You have the ability to believe your feelings, your thoughts, your emotions, even if your partner disagrees. So if I'm going into a conversation and I'm telling my partner something and they come back and say, I don't agree with that, you need to accept that and be like, oh, okay. Not to try to defend it and be like, well, why don't you believe it? Or you should believe it because of this. It's not about you convincing them. They told you the truth. I don't agree with that. Let them not agree with you. Let them have their own opinion. And the next thing I want you to do when you're trying to validate your PMDD partner's feelings is monitor your nonverbal expressions. So make sure you know that body language is part of the process. So like I told you before, if I'm moving around the kitchen, if I'm flailing around doing all of these chores and my partner's sitting on the couch trying to talk to me, he's not feeling that I'm validating his feelings and that I'm really listening to him. You need to look relaxed and welcoming. Sometimes when our partner or PMDD partners may say things that we don't agree with, it's disrespectful and invalidating to roll your eyes, to scoff at them, be like, ugh. Like pretty much that makes no freaking sense, what you just said. They can feel you being dismissive and they're going to put a wall up. And then you're going to want to try to get that wall down and be like, what's wrong? Are you feeling okay? Like then they're not going to want to talk because you just invalidated their feelings. You've shown them that you're not respecting what they're saying and that you're not really listening to what they're saying. And you think that whatever they're saying is not true. So what I want you to know about this validating the partner's feelings is that this is a process. So this is something that I have my private PMDD coaching clients practice on a daily basis. So I give them one or two things to do because you have to make it into a habit. It's not natural for you, right? If you've always been just going off of how you're feeling and communicating with your partner based off of how you feel, then it's not going to be instinctive for you to just automatically start, validating their feelings. This is something that takes daily practice. And when you're doing daily practice, it's like, okay, I'm practicing these techniques on a daily basis. And what that's going to mean is that you're going to feel the shift of when you're going to want to invalidate them. You're going to want to scoff and roll your eyes and do all these things. But then you're going to remember, oh, I remember that doesn't make them feel good. Right? I remember that this makes them feel like I don't respect them. That makes them feel like they're not heard. And you're going to stop yourselves in your track, and you're going to be able to go around that. So I want to give you some benefits of having your partner feel seen, heard, and validated in your communication. So the first thing is it helps your partner feel like they belong. It makes them feel like they're not in the relationship by themselves. It makes them feel like they don't have these crazy feelings and thoughts and emotions, and they're just the only one. And so if you ever had a thought about something, and when your partner says, yeah, I agree with that too, or I felt like that too, it made you feel closer to them because they could connect and understand where you were coming from. But when you're not making them feel seen, heard, and validated, they feel like, oh, I guess that's just me. Right? I guess then you feel like you're lonely. You're alone, like you're not in a partnership. So when you're validating your partner's feelings and making them feel seen and heard, you're making them feel respected and appreciated. And any partner that feels appreciated for anything is going to do more of those things. So if you want your partner to do certain things, make sure that you're validating them and not just seeing what it is that they do, but actually validating it and saying, that helps me because maybe it's a method of describing how that helped you. And the next thing is when you're reducing, this is going to reduce conflict in your PMDD relationship by letting your partner know that their feelings matter, that you care about what they think, that you want to hear what it is that they have to say. So disagreements are not going to come up when you trust the person and you know that their intentions. And part of knowing their intentions is because they feel seen, heard, and validated. When you go through that process from being seen, meaning you see the core of who they are, when you hear them, when you're hearing what they're truly trying to say, and when you're validating how they're truly feeling in the moment, then those disagreements and those PMDD fights are not going to happen. They're never going to happen because you've gone through that process. And it's improving your communication with each other so there's not this constant shaming and blaming and judging and telling the person that they're wrong and doing all these things to where the partner feels like they have to protect themselves. I want you to start to empower your partner. Let them know, whatever they're feeling, just let them know that you're supporting them. Just say, you got this, babe. I believe in you. If they're saying, I don't know if I can do this, listen for little cues where they're showing you that they're second guessing themselves or things that they need support in. Part of being heard is you listening to what it is that they need and filling in the gap with that, because your partner's going to always tell you what it is that they need if you take the time to listen to them, right? So you have to listen fully, give them your full, I know what you're thinking. How do I make them feel seen, heard, and validated? What are the tools? What are the steps? The first one is I want you to start by giving your partner your full attention. Remove your cell phone and television and let them finish the story and provide all the facts before you interrupt them. Because even if your partner doesn't say anything, so when you're multitasking, you're doing so many things, they see you and they think that you're prioritizing all of those things above them. After they're finished talking, even if you're wanting to interrupt them and play devil's advocate and be like, oh, well, maybe you shouldn't feel that way because of this, this, and this. I want you to summarize what you hear. Reflect back to the person what you think they said. That way, if what you're thinking that they're saying, if it's something different, if they're like, no, that's not what I really mean, let them clarify, right? Let them clarify and be like, no, that's not what I mean. I really mean this. And so I want you to label their emotions, help your partner sort out what they're you and they're saying all these things, and you're in that safe place where they know that you're really listening to them. Help them label them. If their emotions have been suppressed and kept down for a long time, it can make it really difficult. But a lot of times people get through things by talking through things. They'll understand why they're upset about a circumstance just by talking through it with you. So if they're like going off on something, and even if they're going off on something that you wouldn't normally go off on, after they're finished and you completely listen to them and just say, it seems like that situation really made you angry. Like, I understand how that could be frustrating for you. It seems like you're really frustrated. And they'll agree with you. Yes, I am frustrated because, and then they're going to feel heard and validated and seen, because they're going to be like, she labeled my emotion. She knew what I was feeling, or he knew what I was feeling. And understand your partner's history. If your partner has any prior trauma, notice that they are going to react to hard conversations, to difficult emotions in a different way. Like, I have childhood trauma. So a lot of the times when I'm bringing up stuff, it's because something has triggered my childhood trauma, but I need to talk it out and I need to feel validated because it's triggering my childhood trauma. So by my partner knowing that, he can understand, okay, she's reacting this way because of this. Understand why your partner's reacting a certain way by remembering their history. And so I want you to recognize the valid parts of any part of your partner's experience, even if you don't agree with the whole thing. If there's a valid part, if you can kind of take yourself out of yourself for a minute, you can say, okay, I understand how you can feel that way. Even if you wouldn't feel that way, and you don't have to say, I would never feel that way, because then that's a form of invalidation. Show empathy towards them. Let your partner know that you acknowledge their feelings on the deepest level and that it's genuine. Don't be fake about it. Don't be like, I hear you. I see, I see you. I know how you're feeling. Like, give an example of something that you're going through, even if you're not struggling with the same thing. Right? Even so, for example, my partner may be stressed out at work, and he's complaining about stuff at work. Like, I had to do this, I had to do that. And so I'm not a person that really gets stressed out about work. It's normally things that are home or other things. So that's why even on the podcast, like, I very rarely talk about work because it doesn't stress me out. I love what I do. That's the least of my worries. So if I'm talking about something, it's probably not work, but my partner loves to talk about work. And so instead of me saying, like, why don't you just get over that? That's no big deal. You shouldn't be upset about that. I need to think of something that I would be upset about and say, I understand that that's really frustrating to you because, I had this really frustrating thing going on, and share your experience of what frustrates you so that they understand that even though the experience is different, you know how to relate to that specific feeling so that they feel like you're relating to them. So they feel seen, heard, and validated. The most important thing in this whole process is to provide genuine emotional validation. So you'll learn how to manage your emotions better with your PMDD partner when you're feeling connected and loved. And the way that you get that intimacy of feeling connected and loved is to allow your partner to feel seen, heard, and validated so that your partner can do the same thing for you in return. We got this. I hope this PMDD episode helped you and your partner in your struggles within your relationship. And if this is something that you know that you need help with and you need further support, individualized support, make sure you're going to inlovewithpmdd.com and you're getting those private sessions to really work through what you're going through in your relationship, specifically in regards to PMDD. And also, I want you to leave a 5-star written review on Apple Podcasts. What this does is it helps other PMDD sufferers and partners find this show that can help them get these free PMDD relationship tools. I remember what it felt like to not know that there were tools out there specifically for PMDD relationships. So I want to make sure that you are sharing these tools with others, share them on your social media, share them with people that you know that are also struggling in their PMDD relationships. Until next episode, this is Dr. Rose, your PMDD relationship psychotraumatologist. One more thing, I almost forgot. I now have the Fresh Start PMDD Partners Workbook. What this workbook can do is if you've had past traumatic experiences with your partner, past fights, past arguments, and they keep coming up every single month in PMDD, I created a Fresh Start Workbook so that you can deal with all of the traumatic experiences that have happened in the past in PMDD rage and all of these things so you can stop going through the same cycle again and again and again. So get that workbook. It comes with a video episode of the actual podcast that I recorded on getting a fresh start in your PMDD relationship. So you're not continuing the same cycle again and again and again. So make sure that you get that workbook. And if you need those individualized counseling sessions, you know where to go, inlovewithpmdd.com. Until next time, we got this. Love you.